Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So let's respond to a Nier Reincarnation Reddit thread, and no, it's not the one about me. I try to stay away from Reddit as much as possible because I don't want to see spoilers on future stuff. But this day I chanced it because I wanted to see what people were thinking about the new karma system. This might sound funny, but I am interested in people's opinions. But just like advice or spoilers or lore or whatever else, if I want it, I will seek it out. I don't appreciate unsolicited anything. But I went seeking for impressions on the karma system, and instead I found this thread about, essentially, mobile gaming. The other day I made a video about the recent poor performance, sales-wise, of the JP version, where I tried to discern how and why it was happening, get into the psyche of the Japanese gamer, and I suppose it's fair to present some of the global side as well. This will also give me a chance to share my wisdom on Japanese mobile gaming. I try to educate various global communities on it because the learning curve is steep. Some people refuse to learn from me and insist on going through the learning curve themselves, but I believe I can help people jump up and skip a lot of the curve, cut out a lot of friction, especially for players new to mobile games, and get more quickly to the unique fun of the format. Alright, let's start responding. I will cut out the usernames for their privacy's sake, but I will also link to the thread in the description. Okay, here is the original poster. I don't feel like playing this game anymore. Lover of Yoko Taro games. I'm guessing the majority of players of Reincarnation are Yoko Taro fans. I really think Reincarnation has potential. Potential is a funny word here because we're already 2.5 years into the game. There's more behind the game than there is ahead, I would say. But the major defect maybe, of this game is a roll unlimited character, 2% and then 200 for one ceiling exchange. Yeah, I also do not like the 2% character pull rate, and I don't like the 20-10 shots for the ceiling. But it's the industry standard. Everybody's doing it, so it's not going to change. So we just have to adapt to it, unfortunately. As an end gamer, my only reason to play is those little gems. Play exploration, watch the 6 ads, and wait 2 weeks until I have 3,000 gems to pull, and that's all. Yeah, once you get through all of the kind of the opening gems, going through the story and dungeon and all that stuff, it gets rather thin. And I want this Summer Yuri. I pull 100 times on her banner, and no Summer Yuri or Marie. To this person, I would recommend, if they still want to keep playing the game, that they keep saving until the end of the banner, or, you know, open your wallet and then do those last 100 pulls and then get her, guaranteed. Summer Yuri is a kind of a once in a year type of character, and missing her here is going to hurt, and the next time she is available might not be for like 3 months or more. This game is kind of crappy about making limited characters, or even standard pool characters, very available after the initial banner. I just feel this game become more and more greedy. Yeah, we can tell looking at the last half year, that the business model for the game is changing. I might make a separate video on that. The first year and a half I felt it was very friendly to free-to-play. But it's become more and more targeted towards whales, both in the character design and also the level design. Okay, next, first response here from another commenter. I'm sorry, but every gacha game is like this. They follow these 2 simple rules, pay to win and power creep. Let's talk about power creep first. Yes. But this is because power creep is in almost every game, even console games. Like in Nier Automata, for example, you know. You start weak, and the enemies start weak. You advance through the game, you get more strong weapons and chips and things, and then the enemies get stronger as well. So yeah, I always say this, but power creep is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It's a necessary thing. It's the handling by the developers that can be good or bad. It could be too fast or too slow. What happens when power creep is too slow is that the game is boring. It's not challenging enough, it's not advancing quickly enough. If power creep is too fast, then that can overwhelm players, In the world of mobile games, if power creep is too fast, then that can really come across as greedy, like you need to pull the new thing in order to keep up. And then I also want to point out that there's 3 kind of main flavors of power creep. One is player-side power creep, which is how strong the characters and weapons and things that we get as players. So like the recent 2B and Nier, that's a good example of player-side power creep, because they got, higher multipliers, higher stats, that kind of thing. And then there's a game-side power creep, where the missions get more difficult and more demanding. We see that with, Quest 5 difficulty of subjugations, the later stages of the Fate boards. That's a good example of game-side power creep. And then the third flavor is community-side power creep. If a community is very into like peer pressure, telling people that they need to use a certain unit, or they need to use a certain strategy, or a certain team build, or whatever, that can be a community power creep advancing. But yeah, I just mentioned this. The first year and a half, I would say, of Nier Reincarnation, power creep was on the slow side. It was very friendly to players, but it also maybe led to a less interesting game experience. But like the first 6 months, if you had A2, you could do everything in the game easily. And then like the lifespan of characters like Fractured Noel, or New Year 063Y, Bloody Griff, Anniversary Demas. Those characters had very, very long lifespans, so that was slow power creep. Okay, next let's talk about pay to win. I don't like when people equate like one-to-one mobile games with pay to win. There are some mobile games that are pay to win, of course, but not all of them, not most of them, because players will catch on if the only way to win or to get high ranks is to put money into the game. They will just leave the game and then go to one that is more friendly to dolphins or free-to-play. In most cases, it is more accurate to say pay for speed. If you put money into the game, then you will get faster advancement through the game. You will get to the higher ranks or the higher scores more quickly. But even a free-to-play user, if they play diligently and if they pull smartly and use the right characters and whatever, they can reach, pretty close to the same levels as the paying players. Sorry to keep bringing this up, but I'm a free-to-play user, and in PvP, I was able to get 11 in the Arena Showdown, and then 7 in the most recent Arena season. So yeah, I am winning, but I am not paying. It just took me longer to get to that point as the paying players. Okay, next response. The lack of free-to-play gems to earn versus the year 1 experience and new content that requires you to try and think has been frustrating. Yes, it is. Rerunning events with no gems also feels bad for veterans, for sure. However, I think the amount of gems that they give every month is very calculated, so that if you're free to play, you can maybe pull to the ceiling once per month. I'm sure that is on purpose. And then I think they went too hard and fast on power creep in these first years. No, I just talked about this. I don't agree with this. I think power creep was maybe too slow the first year and a half, but it has been speeding up lately a lot. Okay, next response. This is saying a lot of what the previous one said. We are the ones who keep this game going and have been loyal. Yeah, long-term players are important, but to be honest, there is a kind of expected turnover in mobile games. And I think ultimately, the developers, they care more about bringing in new players all the time than keeping veteran players. I'm not saying I support this, I'm not saying that this is good, I'm saying this is what the developers are thinking. If we leave, the game will be over. No, this is not true either. If there is a constant influx of new players, then it doesn't matter if the veterans leave. Okay, next response. I've played significantly less, only mostly for the story. This is the way. The number one reason to play Nier Reincarnation is for the story. And if we can stay focused on that, I think we can put up with anything that the game gives us. Even my favorite game mode, Recollections of Dusk Being Ruined, is not going to make me quit the game because I'm here for the story. Okay, next response. I feel you. I'm mostly here for the short stories. Fine. Same as me. It's rough trying to do endgame content when you can't spend much and frustrating to watch the new characters power creep. Yeah, it is frustrating. But if you can make peace with it, if you can just watch the whales, you know, do their thing, that'll be enough. All gacha is like this, I understand, but I don't think it makes complaints irrelevant. Things won't change until people stop paying for them. Exactly. The reason why games are set up the way they are, the reason why the business model is the way it is because it is what works, and it is what has worked for a decade. Every mobile game community, global, that I go to, there are always people that are like, we need to change the business model to this and this and this in order to fix the business model, in order to save the game. But the thing is that the business model doesn't need fixing. It has worked for a decade. Especially as global players, where the revenue is just never as good as the JP revenue. We have less say in the direction of the game. And so the best we can do is to learn how it is set up, and then learn to work within those confines. To play by the rules, essentially. And that's kind of the essence of my Zen approach to mobile gaming. Learn the rules, know what fights to pick, go with the flow, you know, find your fun, all that stuff. If people don't pay for Reincarnation, we don't get any more story. I long had a theory that the game did not care about making money. It was just going to tell its story no matter what happened, and it would be like the Nier franchise paying for marketing, essentially. But a lot of the recent moves, trying to get players to, log into the game more, to pay more, putting out more paid banners, it's kind of making me wonder. I might talk about this as well in the video, talking about kind of the shift in the business model over the last year. But it does make me wonder, like, are they suddenly wanting to make money? Because it's difficult to make a pivot once people are used to a certain kind of, like, pace or, like, atmosphere of a mobile game. Or were they always interested in turning a profit, and were they just really bad at it the first year and a half? I really wanted to do the monthly pass to support the game, but it's sadly just full of junk. I'm going to say something here that I'm sure is going to upset people, but if you say that you want to support the game, but you're complaining about the content of a pack or pass, then you're not actually serious about supporting the game. If you really, really wanted to support the game, you would make purchases without really caring about what is in the pass. I'm glad comments are off there. I'm just bored, I don't care about pay to win or power creep. I've always been a casual that enjoys the stories and the Nier aesthetic. Good, that's the way to go. Seems a lot of people have quit recently because I can very easily get to the top 200 in Arena before losing. I've also noticed kind of less competition in the Arena. That's a little concerning that there are likely around 200 hardcore players left on Global. There are multiple brackets, but I'm not sure how many brackets there are. My guess is 3 or 4 for Global, so I don't know. 200 hardcore players in 4 brackets, that's 800 hardcore players. It's not a ton. At least maybe we get to finish the story. This arc seems like it's tying up the story instead of introducing new characters and stories. I agree. I've talked about this at length. Are you free to play? Might be best to wait until you can summon 200 times or 150, whatever the shard exchange is. I agree with this. Kind of the smart way to play, it's not fun, but it's the smart way, is to save up until we can go to the ceiling, get something guaranteed. As far as becoming more greedy, nothing has really changed since launch. Actually, a lot has changed since launch. This is easily one of the most generous gacha I've played for both free-to-play and spenders. I agree with this to a point. It depends on what you want to do in the game. If you want to see all the main story, and that's it, then this is super generous. It gives you all you need and more. And I would say that, with the starting gems and whatever, it gives us enough to eventually, beat all the subjugations and then max out all of the Blackhorn weapons, which gives you a big leg up in the game. I don't know if they give you enough to go through all of the Recollections of Dusk, especially with the new changes. But yeah, depending on what you want from the game, it is very generous for free-to-play. Then don't play the game, man. I was kind of with you the other day, but then I got caught up reading a bunch of stuff, and I'm back in till the end of the arc, at least. Yeah, gotta be in it for the story. Dead game. Depends what we mean by that. Is the game dead in updates? Or is it dead in, like, community-wise? Or... It depends on what part of the game we're talking about. I think the game, as far as story, is still very much alive, and, again, still the main reason to be playing the game. Right, they say that there. I come back for the stories. It seems like they're going to push through to the end of the current finale arc, I agree there, but they're really just trying to bleed the remaining players dry. I've been getting a little bit of sense of that with the recent changes to, speed up a power creep, the types of banners that they've been putting out. Just kind of sucks because with the anime and the continued Final Fantasy XIV crossover stuff, I've seen people still jumping into the game fresh. I think it's still a great game to get into today. I just talked about how the game gives you enough to get through the main story. I'm only here for the story, yes. Like the SSS Plus subjugations, Fate Board, randomly hard optional content. I don't give a flying fig. Yes, I agree there. I left the game for the same reason. The dailies and ads were making me far too stressed. I found them stressful too. It's been a long time since I've watched the ads. I adore Nier's story, so I'll just watch a video of the new chapters on YouTube when they drop. Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a lot of people that go this direction. And then the Nier Wiki, which collects, all of the different Nier games, Replicant, Automata, and all that. They've been uploading a lot of the stories of Nier Reincarnation, so even after shutdown, that's going to be a resource to kind of go back to. But yeah, I talked about this, like, there are a lot of people coming from the console games that want, more story. They want, like, a connection to the games that they already know. You put that into a mobile game, which can, go for a while. It can maybe outstay its welcome, and then people get fed up with waiting. And then, like this person, are going to quit and then just check the stories on another platform. So yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to balance that as a developer of a mobile game. If you're doing 10 to 20 pulls on every banner, then you're doing it wrong. Well, if the ceiling is 15 or 20, I think that's fine. You really need to save gems until you see the character that you just must have or really, really want, sure. I'm not saying you should always save for pity. Okay, I'll say you should save for pity. Here's a two-part response. You're saying this like you need the top-tier characters to clear the story. I don't think the original poster said that. I'm a very casual player that jumps into the game in bursts when there are new events or special stuff going on. Fine. Cleared the entire story mode on very hard on auto with zero trouble. Yeah, I think that's possible for free-to-play users, but I don't think that is what the original poster was talking about. The original poster seems more interested in playing the higher difficulty content or playing Arena at a high level. If you're a total fan and just here for the story, why are you worried about the gacha? Because they are a higher level player. You can see all the stories with the most basic of teams. That's true, but it's not what the original poster was talking about. The only thing that will require top-tier gacha stuff is arena and or subjugation battles. So yeah, that's what the original poster, I am assuming, is wanting to do. Alright, here's part 2 of the response. Take a step back, look at the game itself, and realize that you might be focusing on the wrong aspect of the experience. Every player is going to have a different approach to the game. They're going to enjoy, different aspects of the game. I say that I don't enjoy subjugations, but I'm not going to say, remove the game mode from the game, because I know a lot of people enjoy it. Okay, next response. Learn to pull properly. Save resources and go for pities. Yes, I agree. You can't catch them all, so only go for the ones you need. The hard part is knowing which ones you need. It's very hard to kind of guess looking at just the stats on paper, how they're going to perform or like what game modes they're going to be good for. I don't bother pursuing any PvP characters because they get power crept the next month. I disagree with that. As I said earlier in the video, some units have very, very long lifespans. There are going to be shifts, you know, like some elements are going to be stronger at different times. But I think there's always going to be a place for, you know, these stronger PvP units. Always go hard for cracked DPS characters. I don't agree with this because the damage dealers are always the one that get power crept first. It's actually the support characters that last the longest. Pray for good luck or some kind of hidden pity mechanic where the game feels bad for you after 500 pulls and goes easy on you for a while. This is against the law to put that kind of system into a gacha game, so yeah, don't count on that. Okay, and last response here. I mean, a gacha game has to generate revenue somehow. If we could get everything for free, why would anyone pay? Yeah, this gets back to the business model. It has worked for a decade, and it's not going to change. So yeah, if we can adjust our expectations of the game, you know, at what level we can play at, then we can have a more zen experience playing it at whatever spending level we are at. Okay, so those are my responses to that Reddit thread. It's good to do these every once in a while, because there are always new players coming to mobile games that kind of go through culture shock and need to go through the learning curve. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.